Good morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with D-Link. Today's host is Alfred Loya, and he is D-Link's Senior Account Manager, and he will be presenting today. If anyone has any questions, please submit them in the question box, and Alfred will answer them at the end of today's presentation. Alfred, thank you so much for being with Microcom today. We're very happy to have you, and we're looking forward to our new year of 2024, and we welcome you today. So please go ahead and take it on over.
Super. Thank you so much, Julie, for the introductions. Much appreciated. Glad to be here. Wanted to just, introduce the D-Link and our switching solutions. And so might as well just jump on into it. So a lot to share. So D-Link is a worldwide organization. We are an original equipment manufacturer based out of Taiwan. We make our products based on IEEE standards. And most of the products that come from Taiwan are TAA compliant. And, we are everywhere. And so wanted to show you a little bit about, how many offices we have around the world, and that we're primarily concerned with the United States. But if there are any other opportunities that may arise, please bring them up to your Microcom account manager or representative, and we can talk about how we can best navigate. With regards to D-Link solutions, we offer a lot from IP surveillance, network security, switching, and wireless. But primarily, I'm going to be here to speak about our switch lineup. We do have a whole universe of switches, and I'd like to showcase what we have in an easy format fashion for you guys to understand how our products line up in our switching category. If there's any questions, feel free to ask in the chat, and Julie will head them up to us. One of the main things and values of D-Link switch line is the fact that we build our products on IEEE standards, and as well as those switches come along with lifetime warranties for our managed and smart managed. And our unmanaged switch line comes with a limited lifetime warranty. And then some of our consumer unmanaged switches varies with their warranties. So we're here to talk a little bit more in depth about that Ethernet switching lineup from D-Link, and let's go ahead and jump into what we have. To begin our slide deck, we have our unmanaged consumer switches, and I'd like to start from the bottom going up. With regards to the bottom, these are unmanaged consumer switches. It gives the user capabilities to add more port densities to their networks by adding 5, 8, or 16 additional ports to connect cameras, devices, computers, whatnot to the specific networks they're using. The next level up is our multi-gigabit switch. That is a 6-port. It contains 5 2.5 gigabit and 1 10 gigabit Ethernet port on this device. Unmanaged, plug and play. There's also the full lineup from D-Link's unmanaged business switches. On the bottom to the top. From the bottom, we have our 10100 speeds, and those port densities vary from 5, 8, 16, and 24 ports. A typical nomenclature here would be easily identified within the first 3 letters, D-Link Ethernet switch. There is one that does stand out, the DSS16 Plus. It is a 16-port fast Ethernet. It's just a different family name. Came from another family, but it is our current 10100 lineup. In the next level up, we have our gigabit unmanaged business switch offerings. These are typical nomenclature of DGS, which signifies D-Link gigabit switches. Different port variations here from 5, 8, 16, and 24 ports. And at the top, we have our multi-gigabit unmanaged switch offerings that go from 5, 7, and 8 port offerings. D-Link multi-gig switch, the first 3 letters in the nomenclature there. It's very easy to kind of identify. So for our unmanaged business PoE switches, we have at the bottom our fast Ethernet, the D-Link Ethernet switch PoE 8-port. and 16 port here. Actually, it's totally 18. You have 2 uplink ports, but it is IEEE standards that we follow for 802.3 AT that can deliver you the specific PoE port wattage. Now on the top line, we have the gigabit lineup that are all PoE. They go from 5, 8, 10, and 24 port variations. These are straight plug and play with no management offerings in it. Now, as we move into the smart managed switches, these typically carry some level of management, and in the management, they offer various levels. So with our smart switch lineup, here's a pictorial understanding of the families and how they stack up in various feature sets. At the bottom are our entry level smart 1100 gigabit Ethernet switch. There's a whole family that goes from 8, 16, and 24 port variations. On the right here, we have our surveillance series switches that are specifically engineered for surveillance applications, and a lot of features are in these particular units. Better than the unmanaged series, these have more things to help make your network run more smoothly. And with regards to the next level up, we have our gigabit Ethernet smart switches. This is our cream of the crop, probably our most popular series, or the 1200 series. On the left, we're talking about the DGS 1210 entry level, most popular, and is a high velocity skews from the 10 port all the way up to the 52 port. On the DGS 1250, we have a similar situation here, but there's a lot more features that are incorporated in these than the 1210s. Obviously, the number schematics shows that there may be something more, and it is true. There's more in the 1250 than the 1210s. This last one in the 1210 series is the DXS series. This is actually a 10 gigabit Ethernet switch family offering. Typically, it's 24 or 48 ports, either copper or optical SFPs. Line, we have our 1510 and 1520 series. These have to be the most feature-rich products we have in our smart switch lineup. That's why they're at the top. They have 10 gig uplink capabilities and higher levels of management offered. So a lot of our switches will have the capability of stacking. And when you do stack with the D-Link switches, you have a couple options. You can either use 2 of the 10 gig SFP ports on each switch to situate your stack accordingly. There's specific DAC cables or fiber that we could do this with. D-Link has their own part numbers that may be illustrated the later slides of the show here. Here's some of the 1510 with some of the higher, more intrusive features in place, showing a pictorial of static routing that helps improve the network efficiency, driving all the obligations of the router to the switch. So the switch can handle the traffic and offloads all the traffic and back up on the router portion. Helps make everything more convenient and runs a lot smoother and faster on the LAN side from computer to computer, application to application. There's also another example of our 10 gigabit Ethernet uplink capabilities along with our edge switching. So a lot of the switches you see, why would you use 10 gig in combination with 1 gig? The 1 gig offers connectivity to the edge devices. These typically run up on a higher bandwidth link to the core switch, which probably 10 gigabit Ethernet, multi-gig, or things like that. But this is a beautiful design and how we like to prescribe networks. And also mentioning about prescribing networks, should you have any questions, need any assistance from D-Link, we encourage you guys to reach out to your Microcom representative to engage with us for pre-sale support. We will offer product selection, recommendations, design support to support you with your opportunities incorporating D-Link. We also have our cloud managed switches. These things are have a lot of capabilities. They provide zero-touch deployment. You have different port offerings in our switch line, and they are cloud managed. And you also have a family of access points that go along with it. And yeah, it's very, this particular product line, we recommend to have engineering design support around so that way everything goes without a hiccup, and that, you know, you would have the full support of D-Link from beginning and end of the network deployment. And so fully managed switches. Here's our lineup at our top of the layer of the stack of our switches. On the left, we have our DMS, our multi-gigabit switches. This is our heaviest layer 2, layer 3 offering, or layer 2 offering, sorry, excuse me. In the middle is our layer 3 managed gigabit Ethernet switches. Our 3630 is our top line layer 3 managed gigabit switches. On top of that, we also have layer 3 managed 10 gig Ethernet switches. Similar to 1210, you see the DGS 36 and a DXS 36 series, indicating that they have that layer 3 capabilities in the number 3. So these products do have full-on layer 3 support. They come initially with the standard image, but those standard images are capable of being added a license upgrade to give you more features. And on the right are the full layer 3 features that you see in the EI model. Again, if you need any guidance or support with that, we encourage you guys to work directly with us, your account manager at Microcom, and they can connect with D-Link to make sure everything goes over as according to what the spec and build is. There's also another pictorial of how our core networking enterprise switching looks and how we can stack up for your organizations. Here's on the bottom our 3630 stack switches driving 1 gigabit copper Ethernet to the edge devices, all along a stack scenarios with maybe dual links of 10 gigabit Ethernet back to the core. And then at the core, we show that we could, you know, populate with our 10 gigabit Ethernet DXS 36 layer 3 switches to help build a solid core. But again, we're here to support you with any questions, with any design support. We encourage you guys to work with us. So if there's something we can offer, feel free to reach out. We're going to work with the Microcom account managers directly in support of your opportunities. Here's also a multi-gigabit redundant ring example. So that way you guys can have in your mind kind of what D-Link can offer in our redundancy and our scalability. This is in the event that one of these lines go down, that there's a reverse course to continue the communications. This is shown on our multi-gigabit switch lineup. Key item on some of our switches is that we do have 6 kV surge protection on Ethernet ports, protecting network surges from lightning strikes. So there are some pretty advanced features and some very helpful features when you deploy these that you may not have known about. So also we have more ruggedized switch called industrial switches. These are actually designed for harsh environments where temperatures may vary way below or way above the normal temperatures in operating rooms. So with regards to our bottom, we have our DIS 100G unmanaged 5-port gigabit Ethernet switches. These are all like ruggedized. So the main thing is that the temperatures exceed normal operation temperatures. So like it can go into a freezer, or it could be outdoors in Arizona where maybe the temperature is 120. These mount on a DIN rail. They have different PoE options that you can power with. but it does require a separate PoE or power box. On our top has a little bit more management capabilities on the 200 series versus the 100 series being unmanaged. Here's that power source I was talking about, the separate power sources that they need to get accompanied with. People are installing industrial switches, they should know of the different third-party industrial power supply units, and they can be easily incorporated through the I/O ports to provide the power to the switch in those harsh environments. You can also provide a dual power supply options in the event you want to show some redundancy or provide redundancy. And then to mention all the accessories to go with our switches, from redundant power supplies to their housings to support the redundant power supplies. The power supplies typically will help provide the PoE switches with a little bit more power to deliver, like in the case with the DPS 700. Provides the redundant backup and also doubles the power budget for these specific switches, the PCs, PS. So D-Link also has our optical transceivers that span the gamut from copper, single mode fiber, and multi-mode fiber for different various speeds from 1 gigabit, 10 gigabit, 25, 40, and 100 gigabit Ethernet speeds. Again, you guys will have a whole price list supplied to you by the Microcom account managers. Here is our PoE injector and splitter offerings. We have a couple of these that they provide useful in some scenarios where there's no options to provide another PoE switch because you only need one or two, and to get another switch might be cost prohibitive. This is an alternative that you could use to provide power to edge devices. Now we also have a Ethernet surge protector, the DPE SP110. That 110 is an outdoor Ethernet surge protector, and it provides, surge protection for anything that might need to have protection from lightning strikes or any kind of surges. It also provides a PoE pass-through, supports a IEEE 802.3AF and AT, up to 35 watts. So that was pretty much what I had to dive into as the overview for my switching lineup. And Julie, if you'd like to maybe pause my screen, I can switch over to my PoE offerings and we can get a little bit more granular if there's no questions.
Hi, Alfred. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. I'm sure we all enjoyed it. And I do have some questions for you. Let me go ahead and get started with the first one. Are you ready to go?
Yes, Julie.
Terrific. Here we go. First question. How do the DMS models ensure plug and play functionality?
Plug and play functionality is just the fact that there's no manageability needed. You don't need to log into the switch in order to provide connectivity. Case in point, let's say I have a modem and a router and I want to have a faster LAN party. And in order for me to add maybe 2 PCs and a laptop and hardwire them all together on a faster speed, what I could do is just plug an Ethernet cable into my existing router port into this faster DMS series switch and plug in the devices that I want to have associated to this faster speed switch. So as peer-to-peer communications take place, they'll be at a faster speed, permitting that they have a fast NIC card connection. And that being plug and play, they really don't need to configure anything of the switch. Since it is unmanaged, there really is not anything to configure. The users would just plug the device in, power, and then plug in the computers or devices that they would like to connect and communicate together. And so this is what makes it a plug and play type of a device, because there's no management involved.
Thank you so much, Alfred, for that answer. Let's go on to the second question. Here we go. Are there any energy saving features integrated into the DMS models?
Yes, there are, and we can share some data sheets on that. There's green Ethernet and savings features that are built into mostly all of our PoE switches.
Thank you, Alfred. A few more questions. Here is the next one. How does D-Link handle firmware updates for the DGS series or any other switches / PoE?
Oh, perfect. Thank you for the question. The best way to navigate is also to always, you know, consider keeping your finger on the pulse with that specific model number and revision number that you have of the D-Link switch. DGS, XXXXX. We have our support site that regularly provides firmware updates for any changes, fixes, design additions. Those things would be delivered on a firmware that's provided through our support site, which is free to the users that have those products.
Excellent. Thank you, Alfred. Next question here for you. Are there any compatibility issues with PoE-enabled devices from other manufacturers?
So there could be, depending on what type of device you're talking about, the best common denominator to have in common is the IEEE standard, whether it be IEEE 802.3AF or 802.3AT, or BT, which is a new standard. So 15.4 watts, 30 watts, or 90 watts, they all follow a IEEE standard. So if the PoE switch has that PoE standard, IEEE standard, and that edge device also conforms to that standard, there should be no issue with delivering the appropriate power for that edge device from that switch.
Excellent. Thank you again for that, Alfred. Couple more questions. Here is the next one. Can you provide some insight into the future roadmap for D-Link's PoE switch lineup?
Potentially at a future or in a next Microcom webinar, we can unroll. But yes, D-Link does have some new switches on the horizons. Not really prepared to unroll here, but as things come more to fruition on our side, yes, there are new switches that'll be hitting the horizon very soon.
Excellent, thank you. And we do look forward to it because we will have you on for another webinar, say in a couple months. I'll be sure to reach out to you. Okay, couple more questions. Here we go, next one. Do you have a system where you can remotely manage the switches and it's free or is it paid?
So for that two-part question, there are two routes, right? So for you to remotely manage a switch, you potentially are asking for cloud manageability. When you do talk about cloud manageability, there are service fees for the devices that you may be managing. So when you call it full cloud, yeah, you should be expecting to pay some type of fees to do this. We do have a Nucleus Connect that enables the users to provide a low-cost solution to be able to do something like this. Again, you can reach out to your Microcom rep and we can connect with our Insight Engineering group, and we can provide a solution tailored to your needs. No problem.
Excellent. Last question here for you, Alfred. For those who may not know yet, can we go to your website and find customer service, technical support, and anything that one might need to follow up with any products and that sort of thing for your for D-Link systems?
Well, I'd strongly encourage to work directly with your Microcom account manager or representative, and along with them, I will be working directly with them to support your needs. and you would have an inside road instead of poking around on the website to find the best route in. You know, refer a friend, come in through a friend. That's how I'd suggest it. If we can support you with something that you're looking for, it'd be probably easier and quicker for us to navigate that for you. And we're here to help.
Sounds good, Alfred. Thank you so much for answering all of those questions for us today. And thank you to everyone for attending today's webinar. And if anyone has any further questions, of course, please feel free to ask your sales rep, as Alfred mentioned, or email us at sales@microcomtech.com. And if you wish to view any of the products mentioned or shown today, please remember, this webinar presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel so we can all view it again. Alfred, thank you so much for your time and being with us today. We enjoyed our first webinar with you and looking forward to the next one. Everybody have a fantastic day.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.